out of Turkish-held Belgrade fortification, if you come here, you have roads to all four sides of the world. Wherever you want to go, you can go from here. Actually, the road to Istanbul was going right where we are standing. Yeah, this part of the city was typical Oriental part of the city in Turkish time. So they had curving streets everywhere, and they have streets covered with these stones, which is called kaldırma, this type of pavement. So many centuries later, we were only left with few of these stones. We wanted to keep part of this medieval history, but they didn't want to be unfair and give all the stones just to one street, so they gave a fair share of these stones to every street. When you're stepping on these stones, you're stepping on Belgrade's medieval history. You don't see curving streets anymore because Austrians came in 18th century and made everything straight. You have straight streets and straight angles. It's like a chessboard in this area. Also, this area saw many street fights at the end of First and Second World War. In First World War, Austrian occupation, Second World War, Nazi occupation of Belgrade. Now, many buildings were destroyed in street fights, so they built after Second World War as quick and as ugly as they could. But there are still some buildings that are preserved that are pre-war buildings. So this is area of mixture of architectural style. It's very interesting. And the other thing is you have bullet marks on many buildings. So fourth building on your left, when we continue, has bullet marks on it. One more important fact for this area, this is where the first bullets in First World War were flying, not for Serbia, for whole world. The first bullets were here from Austrian ships towards mainland of Belgrade. Okay, so we can continue through Dorcho and you will see the bullet marks on your left.
Marcas de bala. ¿Qué ha dicho? Que ha dicho que por aquí hay marcas de bala, que aquí empezó la Primera Guerra Mundial. Esto es la parte bonita.
Joder, preciosa, sí.
¿Te gusta?
Bueno. Sí.
Tiene mucho colorido.
Me esperaba algo diferente, ¿sabes? Los andamios.
Construction, so we cannot see it from this side, but you get the idea basically from this part what it looks like. It's the oldest standing Turkish house on the ground of Belgrade, and it's from middle of 18th century, and it was built like this for a typical Turkish family. So the upper layer, the upper floor is for one man, for head of the house. Everything underneath is for all the women and all the children. Okay, so it turned into first higher educational institution in Belgrade in Serbia at the beginning of 19th century. That's when we were allowed from Turks to develop our own religion, our language and our culture. Now this is a museum of Vuk and the City, and those two guys are very important for us because they reformed our language. And they improved our culture, preserved it in a way. Okay, so what they did is that they made it really easy to write and to read in Serbian. You have one sound, one sign. It's very easy when we learn English. We are very confused. Why did anyone complicate their language? Why did they have spelling? So this is mosque. This is the only mosque in Belgrade. It was one of 16 mosques, but they kind of all disappeared during 18th century, most of them. Why? Because that's when Belgrade changed hands between Austrians and Turks for 6 times. Whenever other religion comes, they tear down because they don't think we don't need the other religion churches anymore. But something specific happened to this mosque because when Austrians came, for the last time they tear down just the higher part, minaret, and left the lower part and turned it into Catholic church. And they used it. When Turks came back next time, for this one, they just had to build the higher part, which was not that big of a job for them. So that's why this one survived and others actually didn't. This is one of the oldest buildings in Belgrade. It's from around 16th century. There are different years and different sources, so I'm not sure from which year. Anyway, when we cross the street, you can take photos of it and you will see the difference between color of this part, higher part, and the older lower part. Anyway, this was the main mosque when Turks were here, when there were more mosques. The imam from this mosque would go up to a small balcony and he would wave a flag. That was signal for other mosques to do the same thing. When everyone's waving a flag, that's a signal to start a prayer. That was kind of communication system to do the prayer simultaneously. He would sing from up there and people would pray here. Now they don't do it the traditional way. There's no one to wave at, and the country in year 2008. Now many people were very upset about this. They wanted to make a demonstration on that day when that was proclaimed a separate country, because there are 200,000 refugees in Serbia from that area, and also that's where most of our cultural heritages with that area we are bonded through history, because that's where medieval Serbia was started, on this area. And
En el 2008 fue destruida.
Fue cuando la quemaron los jóvenes.
Que lo quemaron, que quemaron todas las cosas en esta calle.
Que destrozaron todo Belgrado.
Y quemaron la mezquita y la habían quemado antes también. Y la están reformando.
Valley, I will explain now. Okay, so you have a country with average salary of 350 euros, and you have a street with average where average drink is 8 or 9 euros. So there's something wrong with this street. Okay, basically there are bars here where you come to show off, to show you have money and overspend and be seen overspending. Some bars are really nice, but some are just for that. It's very easy to distinguish which one is for what. Actually, if you're a girl with silicons in Belgrade, if you put silicons, of course you want to exhibit them. Why else did you put them? So this is the perfect exhibition spot, especially in summertime, because you walk through the street and then you sit somewhere, and that's how you get the valley of silicons. They grow everywhere, yeah? Okay, so the other thing about this street is there is one unwritten rule. It says the better the car, the worse the parking. So it's 500 billion dinars. Yes, it looks like monopoly, but it was reality in 1993. And new dinar was imposed in 1994. But at the time you could buy a bread with this. You know, all look at it.
Isn't there a bank where you can get your face printed on a banknote?
Oh yeah, we're doing that at the end of the day. And you were the closest, so you get one souvenirs. You're not a billionaire with that, but yeah, you're very rich.
It's $1 million?
A piece of bread?
It's 100,000.
How much is it?
How much in euros?
500 millones.
Okay, so we can continue.
Billones.
500 billones.
Está aquí
A ver. A ver. Cuando la inflación de 1994. 1593. 1993. 500 billones. Con esto solo podías comprar pan.
Tienen que hacer un billete grande. O sea,
Pero ¿de qué te vale hacer un billete grande si vas a comprar un pan con eso?
Pues por la inflación.
claro, para subir, para...
Kaimak, that's like a cheese.
No, the Spanish flag.
Wait, watch out.
Okay, there's more food, so some
Yeah,
you can try this and some you can try
finlandesa.
something else.
I'm gonna try it. I just see it.
Okay, anyway, there's also kaimak, you can try that. That's like a next stage of a cheese. It's a cheesy butter, it's very greasy and salty, and you also put it on a bread as you do with ayvar. Okay, next step is main course.
Can I have one?
And for main course you can try sarma. It's Turkish dish, but everyone loves it here. So what sarma is, you have a cabbage leaf, actually sauerkraut, and you have
Lidia, ¿cómo está
rice
eso?
inside, and everything is rolled into a cabbage leaf.
Disfruta, cómetelo todo.
There's a saying in Serbia, if you
Mastica.
can roll the cabbage leaf properly, you can get married. If you cannot, you're not a good
No,
Serbian
está-
housewife. Okay,
No
just
está
to
mal.
make you
Ay, empieza a picar el paprika.
how serious
No,
we
no
are
picaba.
about this dish, sarma, shows the case where we made chips out of with flavor of sarma. So you can try what it tastes like, and you can maybe try the
Sabela
real
ello, ¿no?
sarma
Sabela.
later on. Okay, so
Sabela.
share with everyone.
Sabela.
Okay,
Pásalas,
and
pásalas.
the next steps are.
Ah,
Yeah, I also recommend you
Voy a coger otro.
lamb under sache. That's lamb prepared in a special way. It's a
¿Se va a
dish
comer ella?
which is covered with ashes. And the meat is cooked in its own juices for 6 hours, so it's very tasty. No, you can take it. I don't.
Coge otro.
Coge tú.
That's also homemade, the ayva thing. Okay, you can eat sweets, but they're all traditional Turkish. Okay, we copied their recipes because they have good sweets. And the last step is Turkish coffee. It's strong, it's large, and you have a muddy layer on the bottom. You don't drink the muddy layer, but you can do something with it. You can find a Serbian person around you to tell you your destiny out of shapes in muddy layer. Okay? Everyone's drunk and full of food now, so we can continue.
Ay, mierda. Nos vamos. No se separa. No me manches.
Laura,
Ya.
Pero ya volveremos porque si nos vuelve se va.